Heart attack is the #1 killer in America. The aid administered in the first minutes after the attack begins can often determine life or death. Epilepsy affects over 2.5 million Americans, and to date, there is no known cure for what some have called a thunderstorm in the brain. From 1990 to 1994, self-reported asthma cases in the United States increased from 10.4 million to 14.6 million and has continued to increase each year. Asthma treatment cost an estimated $6.2 billion in 1990 and continues to rise. The last 50 years have been distinguished by skyrocketing healthcare costs and a geometric increase in chronic disease. Diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, arthritis, and many other ailments have plagued our nation. Although many Americans are generally content with the quality of their health care, they've learned to live with chronic illness, no longer expecting to be cured. Invariably, pharmaceuticals are prescribed to control symptoms and/or bring comfort to the patient. But a recent CNN article indicates that over 100,000 Americans die each year from reactions to prescriptions and over-the-counter medicines. In addition, another 2.1 million Americans are seriously injured by what many have called wonder drugs. The reality of the matter is, years of research now indicates that the countless chemical mixtures ingested by Americans each year are not capable of correcting most chronic disorders and restoring vibrant health.
We felt we had discovered the cure for all diseases. Well, it's not true. The test of time has failed for overuse of traditional pharmaceutical medicines such as antibiotics. Although they're useful in acute cases and very useful in terminal cases, when it comes to chronic disease, they're not useful at all.
The verdict is clear. Chronic diseases have cost Americans more than the billions of dollars in continued care. It has cost many victims their lives. The question then becomes, is this as good as it gets? Or is there a safe, side effect-free method for eliminating chronic diseases, helping the body heal itself, and restoring vibrant health? The answer is yes, and the method is known as the King Method. As the world's medical scientists have studied the human body, two distinct schools of thought have emerged. Western philosophy, which has at its foundation the science of biochemistry, and Eastern philosophy, which is rooted in physics. Eastern medicine, or energetics, is a study of the human body's energy paths and is a discipline that is firmly established and is at the heart of the King Method.
We are happy to have with us today Glenn King of the Glenn King Institute of Better Health in Dallas, Texas. And Mr. King, you are probably best known for your practice in the King Method. It's a little-known Asian art. Could you describe it for us, please?
I specialize in the physics of subtle energy. In lay terms, I guess you could say it's a gentle hands-on method that helps stimulate proper circulation of energy in the body.
Physically, how does that work? If you can put it in layman's terms for us, how do you control the flow of energy within the body, and how does it work?
Basically, you could say that it's kind of like connecting the circuits of the body. We have a schematic in ourselves that is like the nervous system, like the lymphatic system and the vascular system. And this is an energy system that circulates through the body just like those, except you can't see it like you can take the other and look at it under a microscope. But you can feel the results of it. You can feel the pulsation and the textures as you're holding these places, so that there's no guesswork. There's nothing mystical about it. It's a science. And you go through the procedures and you can stimulate proper circulation on these pathways by touching these areas that have specific meaning to create circulation according to the sequences that you're touching. Say, for instance, energy flows down the front of the body, which it does. If you have congested energy in the diaphragm area and it backs up and overloads in the chest, what you're going to have is it's going to affect your heart. And you will have the symptoms of heart palpitations, other complications, maybe even a heart attack, when it's not really even the heart organ that has any problem whatsoever. and you touch the two places that help release that energy, and immediately the symptoms are gone.
Give me some examples of the people that you have treated with this and some of the problems that they've had and now do not have.
We've worked with emergency medicine from things like acute appendicitis to, of course, heart attack, asthma attack, the common things that many people see, with broken bones to help them heal 50% faster and more correctly, with paralysis. And you have two sides, whether it is paralysis that has severe nerve pain with it or total numbness, and they have been completely, totally restored. People that have had uh, arterial sclerosis to where there's no circulation in the legs whatsoever. And this has been diagnosed by the physicians with all the proper tests, and they've already gone through a couple of operations. And one man I can think of offhand went through 6 years worth of this, and then they wanted to take the legs off because there was no more circulation. The legs were numb, and 3 months later, in short, with working with this method, all of that was completely restored. And when we began, he had 2 large areas of gangrene that had already developed in the legs. And that was also completely relieved. And this is the only method that was used.
To some, this may seem mystical or even non-scientific. However, the truth is, everything we encounter in life is energy. Air is energy, furniture, elements, scents, water, gases. Anything that exists is energy, vibrating at different rates and frequencies. This concept is known as basic physics. Research indicates that maladies can be directly associated with weak, stagnated, constricted, diverted, or dead energy flows in the body. When a harmonious energy flow is achieved once again, the body begins to function in a balanced manner and rights itself.
Yeah, the first time that Glenn came to the office and asked what my specialty was, I told him cardiology, and he said, "Oh, great, I want to show you what the technique is to stop a heart attack in progress." And I thought, there's no way that that's going to work, but I'm open-minded, so I watched him demonstrate the technique. And just a couple of weeks later, a woman came to the emergency room and had already received by the emergency room physician all the therapies that are usually given to a person with having a heart attack, and the chest pain was still severe, not improving, not resolving. So I, as I was talking to the woman, held on to her left little finger and put my other hand on her back at the appropriate place, and in 4 minutes' time, her chest pain resolved completely. And I thought, wow, that's pretty exciting. And so I went out to write up her history and physical and write orders, and in about 15 or 20 minutes' time, the chest pain recurred. The nurse came out to get me, so this time I gave no other therapy. We just went in and did the key method, and again, in 4 minutes' time, her chest pain completely resolved. That night, she had several more episodes. I instructed her son how to do these techniques, and so he went to her bedside each time, did the key method, and each time the chest pain resolved. The next morning, she had a cardiac catheterization that showed over 95% blockage in the left coronary arteries, which would have caused a massive heart attack if the key method hadn't been administered to her that previous night.
The traditional medical person is just on the edge of understanding energetic medicine. What Key does, even though it's very ancient, is it's right solidly in energetic medicine. So what you're doing is you're setting the processes in the body for the healing to happen from within. You're not applying something from outside except through your touch, but what you're doing is establishing in the body a balance process so the healing can happen from inside, and it's very effective.
Just like the Heimlich maneuver and just like cardiopulmonary resuscitation, you or anybody else, even children, can be adapted to the use of this wonderful, safe, non-invasive method. I think that it's something everybody should do, and it isn't really and truly that hard. Very, very beautifully refined number of facts that could be utilized to pass along this wonderful discipline.
This method has no known ill effects. And if there's anything that we need in medicine, is something that does not give us an ill or an unusual or a detrimental side effect. Secondly, there have been many, many people, in fact, I would say thousands, that have been using this type of modality in the Orient. And if this has been proved, you know, we are a very peculiar people in what we call Western world. We relish or we just revel in our own ignorance. Well, we don't understand some of the great things of the spiritual and the emotional and the psychophysiological aspects that affect our lives. And this is where the energy force of our bodies comes in. I would be very much on the part that would defend this to anybody, any place, anywhere.
This is a very powerful healing technique, and it's non-invasive. That doesn't require invasion of the body, and it's a technique that can be taught to others so that they can help themselves. Very powerful.
As we take a closer look, you will notice a jumper cabling action is occurring while applying the King method. A person simply connects while the penetrating, spiraling in energy and spiraling out energy begins a process of harmonizing the body. Energy flows from the surface of the skin deeper through every layer of the body until it reaches into the bone. It then spirals back out to the surface of the skin. Its effectiveness is not determined by the pressure of your touch. Rather, it refers to the circulation of energy and the bodily fluids in the body. This is a gentle, stress-free therapy. The length of time to hold each energy sphere can vary from 2 minutes to 20 minutes, depending upon how long it takes for that particular sphere to release and allow the energy to complete its circulation pattern. The ideal time to move from one sphere to another is when you feel harmony in the energetic pulses. As you can see, the methods are simple and the results speak for themselves.
My son had a bone tumor. He was diagnosed with a bone tumor in his right arm, and the doctor wanted to do surgery on it. So I really believe that there are other things that you can do besides surgery. And so I had a friend that told me about the clinic, and I brought my son on into the clinic, and I was taught several flows that could be done to help him. And over a period of several months, I noticed that as I worked on him and as I brought him in, and he learned to help himself too, that there were some really neat things that started happening with the bone tumor. It started to reduce. But also, along with that, my son, who also had asthma and acne and allergies, those things also started to improve. So I started thinking, well, if this helps my son, perhaps this could be an awesome thing that would help patients as well.
I am a cosmetologist, so I'm on my feet all day long, sometimes up to 10 hours a day. So my legs suffer. And I have sick for so many treatments in the past, including massage therapies, and received many, many of them. None of them have helped me. And I also seek help from a dermatologist of the saline injection into my varicose veins to reduce the pain because he thinks that's the cause of it. That also didn't help me. And one day a massage therapist introduced me about the King method. And I was skeptical just like everybody. I didn't think it would help me because I never heard of it before. And she said that she suggested me to call and make an appointment with him. And I did call and made an appointment with him and cancel it at the same time because I didn't believe in the art could help my legs. And then later on, she approached me again and tried to emphasize how great this art can do for my pain. In the meantime, I'm suffering more because I have increased my work and have not had time to taking care of myself. And I decided to call in again one more time. And this time I made it, and I was so glad. That was the best thing that I would probably do to my health at the time. In one session, not even an hour, and I felt totally relief on my legs. And I left his office, felt wonderful, and was so convinced that I came back for more later on.
The thing that I told Glenn that I loved about the Key method is that I was so skeptical about it at first. I was like, yeah. You don't have to believe it for it to work. And that's what I loved about the Key method, is that I was the skeptic and it still worked.
Well, I'm very excited about it. It's restored my health. It's brought me back to where I'm functioning in my family, and I'm able to get out and about and walk and do a little exercise and speak and think and just carry on life normally like I'm supposed to be able to do. So I'm extremely excited about it.
Glenn King has dedicated the last 20 years to the study of energetics, from which the King method was born. However, he has taken it one step further and has prepared informative manuals to help people like you and me benefit from his exhaustive study. As an introduction to the King method, and is a self-help manual designed to help you learn the techniques that can improve your overall health and sense of well-being. The textbook is for the health practitioner or advanced learner who desires to master the art and administer the techniques on a proficient level. Each book is easy to understand, plus the helpful diagrams and step-by-step instructions make learning simple. Each book is guaranteed to give you the most up-to-date information available anywhere in the world. Get on the road to optimum health today.
I have worked particularly lately with cancer patients who were given a prognosis of 6 weeks to 6 months to live, and after 4 or 5 years they are still alive. And they are maintaining a very comfortable lifestyle, and they're going on ahead with their work, and it's been wonderful to see how they've been able to improve just by using the Key method.
Feeling the treatment work and being able to see the differences was what got me so excited. It was not like anything I'd ever had before, and I could see the benefit of the results without any trauma. So I think that was the thing that excited me the most, and it just down to my core, I knew it was the right process for me and for other people, and that's why I felt it was so important to not only come for the treatments personally, but to also work on other people to go ahead and learn the classes and to be able to pass that on as well.
I received a phone call from the coach, and she said, Sarah appears to be very ill with something, and we don't know what. We believe it's epilepsy, and that was the beginning of drugs, pharmaceuticals to control the seizures, which made her very ill, serious side effects. It interfered with school. She would get to the point where she would be so dizzy she would have to hang on to the wall because of the side effects of the medication.
I felt like there was no hope and nothing other than seizures to look forward to for the rest of my life, and I didn't like that alternative at all.
So when Glenn King came on our radio show, I was very skeptical. I thought, oh, you can't stop a seizure, you can't stop a heart attack. How in the world could you do anything like that? But I asked him with skepticism, I said, what would I do with my daughter when she has a seizure? And he said, hold her thumbs very securely. And so I did. And I brought her very quickly out of a petit mal seizure that normally takes 30 seconds to 60 seconds to come out of. And I've seen that it works.
But there's so much in this method to give people the freedom to choose to have their life be the way they want it to be, and they can work on themselves, they can share it with others. It has opened up totally new, I may be able to drive someday, and right now I can't, but it's given me the opportunity to change my own life. It's put my health back in my hands.
It was absolutely amazing. Within 4 treatments, the paralysis disappeared. My eyes became normal. In my right eye, the vision was restored. My left eye was blinking properly. I was able to smile. And I was so excited. It's after 4 treatments. It's just absolutely amazing. No other doctors or physicians have ever heard of Bell's palsy virus being cured that quickly. And there's been no reoccurrences since then. And I was so excited because I was able to smile for my high school graduation and go to college and have a normal life.
And for those of you who like one-on-one instruction, Glenn King also teaches King Method seminars internationally. This invaluable experience includes instruction, lectures, demonstrations, and daily hands-on sessions in a casual, relaxed atmosphere. The class also includes over 100 informative handouts. For seminar information, call the Glenn King Institute for Better Health. Remember, the King Method is not another procedure devised by man. This method is a result of studying man for hundreds of years. And from that study, we are able to share with you world-recognized principles that promote vibrant health. Call to get started today.